$250 billion. That's what companies spent on AI in 1 year. Not over a decade. Not over a transformation program. 1 year. And after all of that, nearly 90% of businesses say it has had no measurable impact, no productivity gain, no improvement in output, no real change. Now, if you're sitting in a boardroom right now, that should bother you, because one of two things is true. Either AI is massively overhyped, or most organizations are using it completely wrong, and only one of those explanations actually holds up. Welcome to AI for the Boardroom. I'm RFD. Today we're getting into the AI productivity paradox, what the data actually says, why most boards are drawing the wrong conclusion, and what the small number of organizations getting this right are doing differently. Because underneath that 90% headline, there's a second number that explains everything. The reality behind the headline. The study everyone is talking about came from the National Bureau of Economic Research. 6,000 executives, CEOs, CFOs, senior leaders across the US, the UK, Germany, and Australia. And yes, 90% reported no measurable impact from AI. That's the headline. But here's what most people missed. 2/3 of those same executives said they are actively using AI. So this is not a story about companies ignoring the technology. This is a story about companies using it and getting nothing back. Now that's where it gets interesting, because when those same executives were asked how much time they actually spend using AI, the answer was 90 minutes per week. That's it. In a 50-hour leadership week, that's about 3% of their time. 3%. You are not transforming an organization on 3% effort. You're not redesigning workflows. You're not changing operating models. You're experimenting. You're dabbling. You're using AI when it happens to be convenient, not where it actually matters. And the output reflects that. The illusion of adoption. Now layer something else on top of that. If you listen to earnings calls, AI is everywhere. Hundreds of companies in the S&P 500 talk about it constantly. Efficiency, transformation, competitive advantage, every quarter. But when economists go looking for that transformation in the actual data, it's not there. Not in productivity, not in employment, not in margins, outside of tech. AI is everywhere in the narrative and almost nowhere in the numbers. That's the paradox. Massive investment, massive expectation, and almost nothing to show for it, yet. We have seen this before now. Here's where boards need to be careful, because this feels new, but it isn't. In 1987, the economist Robert Solow wrote, "You can see the computer age everywhere, except in the productivity statistics." He was talking about computers. Think about that for a moment. Microprocessors, software, digital systems. They were already everywhere. And yet, productivity growth actually slowed down. Businesses had more technology and became less efficient. Why? Because they hadn't changed how they worked. They had layered technology on top of old processes. More reports, more admin, more complexity. Efficiency didn't improve. It got worse before it got better. Then the 1990s happened, and everything changed. Productivity surged. The gains that had been invisible for years arrived all at once. And the organizations that benefited? They weren't the ones who waited. They were the ones who had been quietly building capability during the slow phase, while everyone else was questioning whether it worked at all. The lag phase. This is the part most boards are missing. What we are seeing right now is not failure. It's a lag phase. Investment comes first, returns come later. And during that gap, the difference between companies becomes structural before it becomes visible. Right now, most organizations look the same. Same outputs, same performance, same productivity levels. But underneath that, some are building capability and some are not. And when the shift comes, that gap shows up fast. Why most companies are getting this wrong. So if the gains are coming, why are most businesses missing them right now? The data gives us a very clear answer, and it's uncomfortable. This is not a technology failure, it's a leadership failure. Because what most organizations call AI adoption is not adoption at all. It's unstructured usage, individuals trying tools. Occasionally, without guidance, without redesigning how work actually gets done. And that produces exactly what we're seeing. Noise at the individual level, nothing at the organizational level. Let me give you another signal. A global workforce study showed something very telling. AI usage is going up, but confidence in the technology is going down. people are using it more and trusting it less. That's what unmanaged adoption looks like. Tools without training. Capability without clarity. Another study found something even more interesting. People using a small number of AI tools reported productivity gains. People using too many tools reported the opposite. More errors, more confusion, more cognitive load. They called it AI brain fry. Think about that. The issue is not whether AI works, it's whether it's being used with intent. And then there's the final piece. A quarter of executives aren't using AI at all, not in the workplace, not meaningfully. So you've got two groups. One group dabbling without structure, one group not starting at all, and both are getting the same result. Nothing. And both are looking at that 90% headline and feeling reassured. They shouldn't be. What good looks like. So what does it look like when a board actually gets this right? Because a small number of organizations are, and the difference is very clear. First, they define where AI operates. Not a general encouragement, not go and try this. A deliberate decision. Where does AI change how work gets done? Finance, compliance, operations, specific workflows, redesigned around capability. This is not an IT decision, it's an operating model decision. Second, they make someone accountable for outcomes, not tool usage, not training completion, actual performance, cycle times, decision speed, output quality, because adoption doesn't matter, results do. Third, they think differently about talent. This is where it gets strategic. One of the most interesting moves this year came from IBM. Instead of cutting entry-level roles, they're increasing them, because AI is removing the low-level work that trains future leaders. And if you remove that layer completely, you don't just save cost, you destroy your leadership pipeline. That is a board-level decision, and most organizations haven't even considered it yet. The real opportunity. There's a piece of research that puts this into perspective. Workers using AI effectively can improve performance by up to 40%. 40%. But here's the catch. That only happens when the use case is clear, the workflow is structured, the output is captured. Without that, the gain never materializes. It stays theoretical. Where this is going. The productivity paradox will resolve. It always does. History tells us that. The question is not whether AI works. The question is, who is building capability while it doesn't look like it works? Because when the shift happens, it won't be gradual. It will be visible. It will be measurable. And it will be very difficult to catch up. Closing right now, most organizations look the same. That's the illusion. But underneath that, some are redesigning how they operate, and some are not. And when this flips, and it will, the gap won't be explained by technology. It will be explained by leadership. For the frameworks, the thinking, and the practical ways to actually implement this, go to aifortheboardroom.com. I'm RFD. The productivity paradox resolves. The only question is, when it does, are you ahead of it or explaining why you missed it?